The first step towards achieving your dreams is having the right coach. Get the best education with Parvathy Thejus and make your GCC and government exams dreams come true. Download the app now.
Welcome back to my channel. ഏവർക്കും എൻ്റെ ചാനലിലേക്ക് സ്വാഗതം. So today we will be continuing the part 2 session for interventional radiography. So before moving on to this session, hope you all have heard about my book, that is Handbook of MCQs for Radiographers and Radiation Therapy Technologists. This book is comprises of about 250 questions along with answers with a brief explanation, so it will be very easy for you to understand and you will get more questions even from explanation you will get. And this book will help you to qualify this PAC exam, or it will be helping for licensing exam, GCC licensing exam also. You will be getting a basic knowledge of about the our radiographic procedures, and it include all areas of X-ray, CT, MRI, nuclear medicine, ultrasonography, mammography, interventional radiography, nuclear medicine. So all areas I have covered. So in this book, I have got a very good review from all my viewers. So if you purchase this book will be very helpful for you to understand the basics as well as to qualify PAC exams. Then I have a great news to share with all my viewers is that I'm having one application, and this application you can download from Google Play Store. It's by my name, so it's Parvathy Thejus. You can just install in your phone. For the updation for Apple users have also finished. So the ORG code for iPhone users will be, I'll be giving that ORG code in the description box so that you can join my application. And all the documents for HCPC, KORU, then CMRT, and it's not only for radiographers, for other specialty people can also join. So you may share with your friends and colleagues. So all the documents are available in very reasonable price. So you download and you can join. And there is also chat option is also there. If you are not buying, if you have all the documents, you can chat with me if you have any queries. So you can just download and join my application. So these are the glad news I have to share with all my viewers. So let us begin today's session, that is part 2, interventional radiography. I have already done one part 1 session. So after watching that video, it will be more clear to understand this video. And from the next session onwards, I'll be discussing the PSA questions, since Kerala PSA exam is starting on October 1st. It's planned for October 1st. So we will be discussing few of the PSA questions will be discussed. So let us begin today's session. Moving on to the 11th question. The effective half-life of heparin is approximately option A 30 minutes, option B 90 minutes, option C 4 hours, option D 8 hours. So the answer is option B 90 minutes. So now let's see the explanation. There are many patients with peripheral vascular disease who would benefit greatly from an interventional radiographic procedure but are on some type of anticoagulant. Many of these are in patients who are receiving heparin drips. While most physicians feel it is adequate to stop the medication 4 hours before the procedure, the effective half-life of heparin is about 90 minutes. So the 4-hour window seems to provide more than an adequate margin for safety. So the effective half-life of heparin is about 90 minutes. Moving on to the next question, question number 12. Why modern catheters are made of polyethylene plastic? Option A, cheaper. Option B, easily available. Option C, obtain better torque. And option D, available in wide sizes. So the answer is option C, obtain better torque. So why we are using why the modern catheters are made up of polyethylene plastic is for better torque. So let's see the explanation. The soft but durable plastic, rubber or silicone are the primary material used in the production of catheters. Moving on to the next question, question number 13. Catheters intended principally for abdominal use are usually dash in length. Option A 60 to 80 centimeter. Option B 100 to 140 centimeter. Option C 150 to 180 centimeter. And option D is 15 to 30 centimeter. The answer is option A 60 to 80 centimeter. So the catheter used for abdominal use is about 60 to 80 centimeter. Moving on to its explanation. The commonly used guide wire. You know the catheter is guided to the area of interest by using the guide wire, and it is having a diameter of approximately, with the commonly used sizes is means the diameter is 0.035 or 0.038. The standard length varies from about 100 to 180 centimeter. The exchange length catheter vary from 260 to 300 centimeter and help to keep the wire tip in a particular position during catheter exchange. So, through this guide wire, the catheter is introduced. The catheter tip configuration is include. It can be straight, angled or J-tip. The catheter sizes is given in French, that is 5, 6 or 7 F means French. There may be end hole, side hole or only side hole system. So the catheter is having end hole or side hole. The thoracic aorta visualization requires about 100 to 120 centimeter length, while abdominal aorta requires only about 60 to 80 centimeter length. Several catheters are used for aortography, namely straight catheter is there, pigtail or Cheney's catheter, simple curved catheter, and complex reverse curve catheter. Among all those things, the most commonly used catheter is pigtail catheter. Moving on to the next question, question number 14. Guide wires allows option A, safe introduction of catheter into vessel. Option B, safe introduction of catheter into muscular region. Option C, safe introduction of catheter into the oral cavity. And option D is all of the above. The answer is option D, all of the above. So the guide wire is to allow the introduction of the catheter into the area of interest, means into the vessel, into the muscular region, or into the oral cavity. Moving on to the next question, question number 15. Which of the following is a contraindication for myelography? Option A, arachnoiditis. Option B, blood in the CSF. Option C, increased intracranial pressure. And option D, all of the above. The answer is option D, all of the above. So, all these are the contraindications of myelography. So now let's see the explanation. Myelography is a type of radiographic examination that uses a contrast medium to detect pathology of the spinal cord, including the location of the spinal cord injuries, cysts, and tumors. Moving on to the next question, question number 16. Intravenous X-ray contrast medium can compromise renal function because of its Option A, painful effect. Option B, dehydrating effect. Option C, hypotensive effect. And option D is inflammatory effect. The answer is option B, dehydrating effect. So now let's see the explanation. The various types of X-ray contrast materials are all either ionic or non-ionic when broken down to their simplest form. Both types contain iodine, which may be considered potentially nephrotoxic as the dye has an acute osmolytic effect. So we know the contrast medium used for CT as well as for X-ray is either ionic and non-ionic. Compared with ionic, the non-ionic side effects is minimal. So before we are administrating the contrast medium, we have to check the creatinine level. After that only we will be administrating the contrast. So since the contract will be, this contrast medium will be excreted through the kidney. So if it is not excreting, it may result in complications. So this is compromising. The contrast medium is compromising due to its dehydrating property. So the injection of a contrast medium can produces an initial vasodilatation, which is followed by a reactive vasoconstriction in the renal circulation, and effect implicated in renal toxicity. X-ray dye is administered cautiously to patients with renal insufficiency, that is blood urea nitrogen, and the creatinine level should be checked. The blood urea nitrogen greater than 23 mg per dl or a creatinine greater than 1.2 mg per dl should signal a warning to be careful. So we will be administrating only the contrast medium after checking the creatinine level or the EGFR value. EGFR means glomerular filtration, and it have to be calculated. It is calculated by the age, sex, as well as the weight of the patient. Moving on to the next question, question number 17. Iodinated intravascular contrast medium expands the blood volume and increases the blood return to the right side of the heart. Therefore, the patient suffering from which of the following disorders may be adversely affected by IV contrast materials? Option A, emphysema. Option B, pneumonia. Option C, mitral valve collapse. And option D is congestive heart failure. The answer is option D, congestive heart failure. So now let's see the explanation. Patients suffering from congestive heart failure may also show adverse effects from IV contrast material as they expand the vascular volume and increase the blood return to the right side of the kidney. The FAD warns of small but serious risk associated with iodinated contrast medium, including kidney damage and anaphylaxis. So, if a patient is having an impaired renal function, there is a chance for complication of contrast-induced nephropathy. Means in future, the patient will have a renal failure or renal damage can happen in nearing future. In each case, a complete medical assessment should be completed and the decision made whether the benefit of the procedure outweighs any potential harm to the patient before any procedure using contrast material is performed. That we have discussed before, because we have to first make sure whether the contrast medium have to be administered or not. If we need to give the contrast medium, we have to go through their creatinine level and we have to make sure that there won't be any complications by giving the contrast medium. Moving on to the next question, question number 18. Patients with previous contrast reactions may be pre-medicated with option A, antibiotics such as penicillin, option B, digoxin or furosemide, option C, diphenhydramine, that is Benadryl and a steroid, and option D, mephiridine and phenicillin. So the answer is option C, diphenhydramine or Benadryl and a steroid. If a patient have a previous contrast reaction, we have to be pre-medicated, means we have to give the medication before administering the contrast. So now let's see the explanation. Non-ionic iodinated CT contrast medium are associated with a very low incidence of adverse reaction. Compared with that of ionic contrast medium, non-ionic contrast medium is less toxic. So the patient may be pre-medicated with diphenhydramine, that is Benadryl, and one of the corticosteroids, generally preserved for patients with previous moderate or severe idiosyncratic adverse reactions. Moving on to the next question, question number 19. Abdominal abscess may form from complications of option A, hiatic hernia, nausea or reflux. Option B, diarrhea, gastroenteritis or distension. Option C, gastroenteritis, perforated viscous or nausea. Option D, acute appendicitis, severe diverticulous or a perforated viscous. So the answer is option D, acute appendicitis, severe diverticulous or a perforated viscous. Moving on to the explanation, that is untreated intra-abdominal abscess may have a very high degree of mortality. Abscess means a fluid collection. May form from various sources such as the complication of acute appendicitis, severe diverticulous or a perforated viscous. Abdominal abscess may also form from rupture in a suture line or for conditions such as Crohn's disease. This mass may cause partial or complete bowel obstruction. Moving on to the next question, question number 20. In ventricles and arch of aorta, only dash catheter should be used. Option A, straight catheter. Option B, cobra catheter. Option C, pigtail catheter. And option D, side winger catheter. The answer is option C, pigtail catheter. Moving on to the explanation about the pigtail catheter. It is called a pigtail because it is curved at the end like a pig's tail. The curve helps keeps the drain in place. These catheters may be used to drain the abscess, pleural effusion or hydronephrotic kidneys, etc. So with that, I'm winding up today's session. Hope today's session is clear. You can write your comments in the description box, and if any areas to be included, you can also suggest your feedback in the description box. Hope you all will be purchasing my book, that is Handbook of MCQ for Radiographers and Radiation Therapy Technologists. The cost is only $199 including the shipping prices. And if you wish to fly UK or Ireland or Canada, or if you are planning to write CMRT exam, and all the YouTube videos are also available in my application in the free study material. So it is all arranged in folders. So you can understand and you can open each folders and you can study. So you can join my application also. You can purchase this book if you are a needed person or if you're looking for some exam. So with that, I'm winding up today's session. And stay tuned till next Sunday. Sunday is the day I used to upload new videos. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for my next upload. Until then, bye bye.